me, Claudine Ciatat, middle school principal, and this is Lucy Yeager. She's my assistant middle school principal, and she also teaches 7th and 8th grade history and social sciences. So we had a coffee about a month ago, I think, and it was, this is better attended. I'm so excited that some of you all are here today. We are going to start with an adorable video that our current 5th graders have made for you all, talking about their transition and some different things for middle school.
Down in front.
Should I turn it up? How do you turn it up?
How do you turn it up?
There's no more volume.
Heather, do you know how to turn this thing up?
There's no more volume.
That's it?
Yeah, it's very soft. Yeah.
All right. Shh.
Hold on.
Library voice.
Yeah, it's up.
Can y'all hear it? 'Cause I have it on my iPad too.
And you were able to, how soon did it take, how long did it take you?
Like the first day of school. Being with the upper campus with all the big kids,
And were the big kids mean or scary?
you know.
Are they nice?
There's just I've heard a lot of things about people tumbling over when they're trying to get to their classroom. Yeah, a couple times.
Are nerds what electives? And what electives do you have?
I used to have intro to tech, and now I'm drum.
And they're fun?
Yeah. Making friends.
Making friends? Did you think it was going to be hard to make friends? Why is that?
Okay, old school, the other kids are really weird. They really want to hang out and lunch.
And here?
The kids here are really nice. They want to hang out with them a lot. First of all, the class movement because I just moved here this year.
Where were you from?
Pittsburgh. So I didn't expect all these lockers and moving around yet because in my old school I wouldn't have gone to middle yet. My old school I'd still be in elementary. I feel like exams I've never really done anything like that, so that was surprising. It was
All those the reports we have to do. We have to do a lot of reports. In a certain class?
well, it says most of it. Yes, Ben. Yes. Math or introducer because math I just love math. Math is amazing. And tech theater because I get to use power tools and use the lighting board and I get to like blow up stuff. Not really. because the teachers are always there for you, and they'll understand what you're going through because this is 5th grade. It's a new thing for you, and that's just ask for help when you need it. That they don't need to worry because the teachers will help you, and they will the 5th graders will help you, and it will turn out very very fun, and they will like it.
Be prepared to hold lots of books.
Don't talk out.
Don't check out.
Yes.
Anything else?
Don't run in the hallways.
Good advice.
Not yet. We should have some kids watch.
No, they are.
I know, I already know. I was like, yeah, it's for them. It's not really for you. But we're just showing you guys what show them.
Yeah, you need to show those photos too. It's very cute. They need to be
So when they come home with the sugar and water comment.
I like that. That was great.
What are you learning over there?
Maybe translated it from Spanish to English.
That looks pretty. Okay. Okay. So that's from the words of our 5th graders who have lived 5th grade this year and are quite successful right now in 5th grade, and they've gone through some growing pains, but they are doing fantastic right now. I have a couple parents that are here to talk to you and answer questions about anything. This is Miss Kluzik. She has a son in 5th grade. Miss McFarland has Liam. He's in 5th grade, and Miss Stanza, she'd say a couple things. Her son's in 6th grade, but she has a couple things that she'd like to add. Mr. Rogers, he has a son in 5th grade as well, and that's it. So, Miss Kluzik, would you like to start?
Here is start and stop. Well, we actually started Canterbury in the 4th grade. So we were moving from Montessori educational system to a traditional one. And I thought after that nothing can surprise me. If we could adjust to that, going from the 1st grade to 5th grade, it's going to be easy. Everybody was warning me, get ready for the adjustment period. And definitely it's there, yes. It's, and I told Miss Claudine, it's like when you start a new job. First 3 months, you're just adjusting. Pretty much you're just working, eating, sleeping. So it's going to be same with them. That adjustment period, those 3 months, it's definitely there. At the beginning, and every child is different. I mean, we have a boys, and the boys usually are not that structured. They don't pay attention to details. They have great concepts. They're visionaries, you know, yes. But to make them pay attention to details is very difficult. You will have to help them with that. Like my son, he couldn't deal with the lockers. Like they keep talking about the lockers, so I would go with him like every morning, and he needed it. He needed that support. He needed somebody to be there. He would go to panic attacks. Like one day we forgot the chapel uniform on Wednesday because it is on Thursdays. So he was like, "Mom, let's just go home. Let's just turn it around and go home." You know? So for him, the thought that I would just drop him off and leave him at the beginning, he just needed me there for the support. So they might need you. Some kids were very independent. I was surprised. They actually, "No, Mom, go. I'm good." Well, my son, yeah, he needed me was there, and I'm sure you were wondering, what am I still doing there after 2 months in the morning? But I would go with him, make sure everything is okay. Yeah, the lockers, he couldn't, you know, I had to buy him the backpack on the wheels. He would put all his books in the backpack and just wheel them around all day. It was just too stressful for him. But some kids are doing just fine. Most of them are doing just fine with the lockers.
And now Max is as well.
Yeah, now he's, of course, the first 3 months. So you will see where they need help. The portal is going to be your best friend. Because they're going to have 7 different subjects every day, 7 different teachers. Every teacher has a different style, different, different homeworks. They're not going to take good notes. They're not going to remember everything. I mean, fortunately, the portals are very detailed. You know, even, and as I said, that's going to be your best friend. And teach them how to use it too. You would sit down together and go over it. Okay, I'll come back from school, let's just look at it. What do you have to do the next day? Do you remember anything else? Did somebody forget to? Just compare the notes and I'll start from them. And pretty much you will have to teach them structure, because until now it was like, the way they were nurtured and, you know, babysat almost, you know, the teacher would make sure they put their notes in their books in the 4th grade. Here, nobody does that. You know, in some way, you know, you are thrown in the water. So nobody's babysitting them any longer. That's why you just have to teach them how to develop the system, how to develop the structure, and there's definitely going to be a period of time when they're going to be forgetting things, forgetting some assignments. All those are lessons to learn, you know, and because there's so many teachers, some of the teachers they're going to absolutely adore. Miss Winthrop, thank God for Miss Winthrop in the middle campus. They love her, you know, in the 5th grade. And every teacher is going to have a different style. So that's why with some of them they're going to click very well. And statistically, with some of them, there are going to be some, you know, little clashing. Communicate with the teachers. Write, you know, emails. Go there. Schedule meetings if you see that something is not going well. I mean, you know, you saw me. You know, I had like a couple of subjects where I have to stay on top of it, and I mean the intentions are the best. They love the kids, the teachers. They want to help them. You know, they would sit down with you and think, okay, what's not clicking? Let's try to figure it out. So the communication is just so important, you know. And even, you know, Miss Utah is wonderful when it comes to it. Sometimes I would be like, they have 3 tests today. I would type to Miss, you know, why they have 3 tests? It's not that they cannot prepare. Yes, they have, like, let's say the whole weekend for their 1 week notice. It's just too much for them. You know, and sometimes teachers don't notice when they post it. So I would just, you know, send a notice. They're 5 days a week, you know, it's just they get exhausted. And when they don't do well, they start questioning themselves. They will question themselves a lot. So you have to, yeah, you know, yeah. And so you have to help them with building their confidence. You know, when they get like some bad grade, they're gonna be devastated. They'll cry, I'm not good at that subject. You have to explain them, you know, the learning curves. It's just at the beginning they will need a lot of support, you know, with structure, with confidence. But, you know, it will click, it will come together amazingly. Even now when I'm looking at them and they do the school year, how much they matured, you know, and it's an amazing experience. Even for the parents, you know, like it's a ride. And what we had to do, like I had to change his diet, like completely. Eat at night, go sleep on time. In the morning, breakfast, protein. Forget about the pancakes, cereals, you know, eggs, turkey, really, seriously, you know, then for the break, protein bars, okay, then the lunch, whatever. But just to have that sustained energy, because he would be exhausted at 3 o'clock, the child would be exhausted, you know, so it's, you will see, you know, what you need to adjust. But yeah, get ready. First 3 months are going to be very interesting.
Yes.
I just wanted to say on the portal thing, I know some of you are thinking, oh my God, the portal's horrible. It's a very different portal experience at the middle school level than here, because the teachers are required to put their homework in and all the things, and they're very good about it. I know Claudine and Lucy have meetings with them where they set up, you know, this is the way we're going to enter it, so we're all entering it the same way. They're very specific about it. I had told Claudine that I would like to offer and start doing this not just because you're my class of my people, but also moving forward always for 5th grade in August, maybe the week before school, one day that week, to offer a training session for you guys to come into school, and I'll just do it on a big Promethean, and I'll say, here's where you click for the homework, here's where you go to this, here's where you find this, because it is a lot. You are very dependent on the portal. The kids are better at it than you will be. They are taught it at school too. They will know how to use it. So they can teach you if there's something, that happened the other day. I was like, I can't find this, blah, blah, and Logan's like, it's right here. So they know, they're on it every day too.
Is it the same portal that we've got here? They just put more information in it?
It's the same portal, but there's also an extension to it, which is a grade book.
The open
So-
gradebook is great.
Yeah, so you can
Really.
see what their grade on their test was. You can see what their current average is. So if they're not,
they can see that too.
and they can see that
It's
too.
their, their tool to
Accountability.
be able to do it. But
Right.
yeah, I'm
So you're
checking.
saying it's more consistent and it's actually useful.
Yes.
Yeah,
down
we just
here.
don't use it.
And
Yeah,
I,
it's like sometimes
Yeah.
there's some there, sometimes there's not, and then
and I would
You'll be
say,
on it almost every day.
Yes.
It'll
agreed.
just be,
Is
it'll
there
become more of a
an app
habit for you because it won't be so frustrating.
What's the easiest way to get to it on your phone?
Add it to your homepage.
Yeah.
I
On your
actually
phone?
have Jody put a link
There's
on
a
my
portal
phone to-
plus.
Yeah.
So the portal, okay, not the calendar side of the portal, but the grade side of the portal has an app. We're working toward an app there that's in the works, but it's probably not going to happen until the 16-17 school year because it takes a year to build it. because it will be just for our school, like specifically, not a click into some other thing. So we're working on that. But right now there is, for the grade book, an app you can put on your phone and you can just click and see the grades. For the calendar, you still have to go to the website portal. It's two separate portals, it's hard to explain,
it
but
is.
So
You
like
don't have to
checking
do
their homework or stuff when you're on a mobile device is still several steps.
Yeah, but it's really not hard.
It's
harder
not.
to see the grades on your phone than it is, to see the portal. So, or the class, the classes and homework. There's an agenda view which she'll show you.
Yeah.
Oh, the
at
agenda
end
view.
here.
It's
The
a-
agenda view is
It is.
wonderful. And I always tell the parents, because I teach 7th grade grammar and she teaches 7th and 8th grade history, I always tell the parents, if I'm teaching a concept in my class and I usually put all my homework for the week on the portal Sunday night. Probably like 11. But anyway, I put all the homework on for that week, but if I'm teaching adverbs and my kids don't get it, I'm going to probably change the homework because we're going to take more time. So it's not, set in stone, but I let the kids know, and that's where the kids have to, be independent and say, oh, well, actually Miss Tech changed it because we had a hard time with adverbs today. And I tell them I will try really hard to change it on the portal, but, sometimes it doesn't happen right away, so.
But if you doubt, you can always email.
Yes.
We check her pretty
Yeah,
much
we do.
constantly. But the portal, I have a son in pre-K 4, and I think the portal is just a different animal on the two
There you go.
campuses. So like here, it's more community oriented. Like what's going on, like what is your kid talking about when he says he wants to go to the cup, that kind of thing. On our campus, it's much more homework, test, resource driven. So they might have a homework assignment, and the resource is on portal, so things like that. And most of us plan pretty far out, but there is flexibility there because we have to move things. There's a test calendar for us. And as we've been using the portal now for several years, but it's evolving for us on the faculty side. So for instance, with our current 5th grade class managing the homework load, Claudine and I can now see 5th, 6th grade homework all together. It used to be much more difficult for us to see that. Individual teachers, like I teach 7th grade, I don't see all 7th grade homework. I see mine because it's the only one that matters.
No, she's not kidding.
But
It really is the only one.
But 7th graders are a little better, less into Miss Yeager, what, I don't know if that, like I just put a test and the kids were like, Miss Yeager, we have a field trip that day.
Yeah.
Of course they love
They're
that.
very
They're like, your test doesn't matter, the field trip matters. But for 5th and 6th grades, they're not going to advocate for themselves the way a 7th grader will.
So you are going to be
We
able
now
to
can-
see all
We
the
do, we do. And
Some of you I
actually,
heard at the beginning of the year. I know there was a lot of.
and that was part of the transition. So what we asked Jody to do was to create us a 5th grade homework, like a class almost, where we could see all of the homework for 5th grade and then all the homework for 6th grade. So we could take a look. And actually the teachers are really good. For example, Holly sent an email to the other 6th grade teachers last week and said, hey, take a look at the homework this week. It looks pretty loaded. And then, John Frascator was like, I can give my quiz on Monday, and Ms. Henriquez like, oh, I can give my quiz next Thursday. So they're very, they're getting used to being able to see other people's homework. Because like she was saying, we've never really been able to see the homework. So for 5th and 6th grade, to help with that transition, we're able to see that. 7th and 8th grade, they need to start being able to manage that on their own. And they really don't, and like she said, they'll tell us.
Yeah, they'll usually find a teacher they feel comfortable with and say, I'm kind of worried because I know we have 3 tests. I don't think we're supposed to have 3 tests in a day. Because we have rules. They're not supposed to be 3 tests, but sometimes it sneaks through and it's one of those things. So if a parent advocates, or then as the kids get older, they advocate for themselves.
Right.
We make those changes happen. And it's a simple email, guys, there are 3 tests that cannot happen.
Yes.
That cannot happen, and it's fixed.
So how far ahead do the teachers, are they required to put the work on the portal? So you said like you usually do on Sunday night.
We do usually Sunday, the day or the week before is good, or the Sunday before the week is good. That way, you can kind of figure out what's going on for the week. Tests and quizzes we put in much earlier. I have my tests and quizzes on the portal for the rest of the school year. So usually what we'll do, and that can change too.
Yeah.
If the kids need another day to review, then I will change it to the next day if I can, if there aren't any other tests or quizzes. So it's all, we're very in tune with our students and what their needs are. If they have been working very hard on a concept in any class and they're struggling, then we're, be like, let's just take another day. And sometimes we'll let the kids choose. One time I actually, I was like, okay, do you guys want to take the test tomorrow or do you want to take it Friday? And I would leave the classroom and let them discuss, and it gave them a chance to talk about the pros and the cons. And this was, I think, an 8th grade class, but Sixth grade, be like, oh, we'll take it Friday. But anyway, so there's a lot of communication that goes on behind the scenes, and everybody is there to help the children. So it's it's definitely a big communication thing.
And we really love, I know from being on Huff that the kind of communication happens on the fly as you're walking down the sidewalk. From Flag, you might see your kid's teacher and say something. A lot of it's done by email, and that's not meant to be impersonal. It's just the easiest way for us to get in touch with you. And I know I love to know, like, if I have a student who's competing in something that's not a Canterbury team, for instance, like I know you had a fourth grader who was doing the ice skating competition. If you just send an email to that child's advisor, then the advisor can share that information with your child's teachers. Just know that he was out, all weekend competing, and so he might seem a little tired, and that kind of thing. And we can share that information very readily if we have it. And that's the function of the advisor. So the advisor will be the homeroom teacher for your child, but also kind of the advocate. If you feel that things aren't going well and you want a conference with all of the teachers at once, for instance, and I'm your child's homeroom teacher advisor, you would email me and I would set up a time so that you could sit down with the teachers together. If it's not just a one subject, oh man, I miss Jaeger, she's too hard kind of thing, then that could be a one-on-one thing.
And I will say, just as an employee also, that really does happen all the time. Like, there are times when an email will go out that says, Mi-young had a very rough morning, just go easy on her today.
Yeah.
And there's no details, and we don't need to share that, but just they are looking out for your kids, and they know middle school is a very emotionally trying time and hormonal time, and they try to be sensitive to that, and that does happen all the time, So they are watching out for your kids.
Did you have anything you wanted to add, Ms. McFarland?
I kind of, everything that everyone has been talking about has been very true for us as well, except for the 3-month adjustment period, because I think we're still adjusting. It is a big change. And I think the thing that's helped me most, because I think parents need help too, is talking to friends and everyone in the class, and you have to make an effort to do it, because you don't see everybody as much. So we scheduled coffees and done a lot more socializing off campus that we can actually, talk about how things are going. And that's been helpful to me, because I find that with Liam and probably most of the kids in junior high in general, something happens in the day and it's been the worst day ever, and they're emotional and they're talking about it, and I find myself constantly telling him, don't worry, it's okay, this is not a big deal, you missed a homework assignment, not a big deal, failed a test, not a big deal, or you had a bad PE class, not a big deal. I kind of have to calm Liam down, and then I have to turn around and call Bill or call my parents and my friends. It's a constant, it takes a lot of emotional energy from parents too. The changes that have been made this year have been great. So when you do talk to each other, it helps, because you find the things that are common, that are sort of systemic, that could help each other. We dropped a class this year. We added open grade books, so I can actually see when Liam misses a homework assignment, so I can help him say, okay, look, you've missed this one and this one. Go into your teacher. This is what you say. This is how you say it. Tell her you're going to turn it in. If she'd be happy to grade it, great. If not, you just at least want to turn it in. So it kind of helps to be a little bit more sort of in tune with what's actually happening versus what Liam communicates to me that is happening, because that's filled with emotion every day.
Yeah, that's very true. When something, I have 2 daughters, so and she'll be there eventually. But when something happens in school, it is, to them it's just like
Devastating.
It is, and then later on they're like, actually, it really wasn't that bad. And it took probably my oldest daughter did it in 10th grade. She was like, she'd be like, oh my gosh, and it would be like this horrible thing. I'm like, okay, do I need to go in and talk to Dr. Smith? And then she'd be like, no, and then later on she'd be like, okay, it really wasn't that big of a deal. I was just really upset. My youngest daughter's still working on getting to that point. But you learn through your first child, you really do. But they are very emotional, and something small, like nobody likes me. All my friends hate me. Okay, one person may not have laughed at something that they thought was funny, and that's devastating to a middle school student. So, so when they come into us and talk to us, I'm like, okay, well, who doesn't like you? Well, everybody. Okay, well, who specifically? Well, Sarah didn't think my joke was funny today. I'm like, okay, who else? Well, really, it's just Sarah. So, it's like you have to kind of, listen to what they're saying and realize that it's usually not as bad as they think it is. Sometimes it can be. So you have to, listen as a parent. If you're in doubt, call me, call Lucy, call the advisor and say, hey, can you look into this for me? And we'd be happy to do that. And usually we know the drama that's going on. So we were like, oh yeah, well, so-and-so just, blah, blah, blah. So they're very quick to come into my office. Even if I have a meeting, they'll just come in and, chat. So they feel very comfortable. Doesn't